Hello everyone, it's my first race in 3 weeks and I'm back in Assetto Corsa Competizione for this Go Setups GT3 Sprint at Monza with Low Fuel Motorsport. Now it's a new season on LFM, so I'm trying a new car. Ferraris and McLarens seem to be the popular choices, but I'm giving the Lamborghini a try for the very first time. And if qualifying's anything to go by, this Lambo may suit me quite well. I'm car number 13, but I've stuck it 6th on the grid with a 149.9. That's only 0.7 of a second off Nick Wask in pole position. Will I have the race pace to match? Well, Monza is always lethal, so it's going to be tough. I'd love to get a top 5, but anything inside the top 10 will be decent. Let battle commence. Here we go then, we're underway. My first ACC race in almost 1 month. Not only do I have to familiarise myself with the sim again, I've got to familiarise myself with a new car too. And all that while trying to survive Monza's infamous turn 1. There's already chaos in the rearview mirror, a red Ferrari spinning into the wall, several other cars involved. Thankfully, I was just far enough ahead to avoid being collected by that. Meanwhile, 2 Ferraris out on the gravel to the right. That is Nick Wask, the pole position driver, and Lucas Buschik, who started in 3rd. I've got the power to get past the pair of them out of T1, so incredibly, I'm up into P3. What a start! 3 positions gained. I've got to be aware of the potential for a dive bomb though into Della Roggia. Sure enough, Buschik is trying to move up the inside. I've got to leave him space and keep myself safe. It's really tight in there, but I may just have the grunt to hold on to this 3rd position. And I have done. I needed to get my elbows out a bit there to fend off Lucas Buschik, but for now, I've managed to fight him off and hold on to this P3. But what a brutal start that was. Let's check out the replay, because I didn't realise at the time just how lucky I was not to get taken out. That red Ferrari of Sergio Lapsa spears across the track, missing the rear of my Lamborghini by inches. Lapsa was actually tagged by the McLaren of Gordon Hazak behind him, and I came so close again to being taken out, this time by the Porsche of Dominic Englert. And yeah, that's Englert in the middle, 3 wide. Look to his right, the McLaren of Hazak trying to avoid the red Ferrari in front of him, steers into Englert, then hits the Ferrari anyway, and all hell breaks loose. We're on board with Hazak then. He's got the run on Englert to his left, but just as he pulls alongside, he takes his eye off what's happening in front. He runs right into the rear of Sergio Lapsus, tries to swerve to avoid him, but ends up tagging Englert as well. One final view then, looking back from my Lamborghini. There's the initial contact. The red Ferrari slides across the track, and that's how close I came to getting collected too. I got really lucky there, but I did what I needed to do to keep myself safe, and actually exiting T1, I picked up 2 positions. There's 1 Ferrari I've got past. There's the 2nd Ferrari I've got past. So P6 to P3 coming out of T1, but watch the red Ferrari of Lucas Buschik behind. He's going to have a sniff up the inside into Della Roggia. Now I knew he was coming, so I knew I had to leave him space. I wasn't able to leave much space for Nick Wask, though. Almost ran him onto the gravel. But despite all the bashing and bumping, I have managed to hold on to P3. Well, what can we do from here? Let's get back to the live action. It's Pierre Courcelle leading the way. Andreas Friis in 2nd. Both of them more than 2 seconds clear already, but I'm more concerned with Lucas Buschik in the rearview mirror. He's going to try another move up the inside into Ascari. Now, I've lost count to the number of crashes I've seen when drivers try to go too wide through this part of the track, so I was happy just to back off there and give him the position. I got a little bit loose exiting Ascari there, but that is going to give Buschik a valuable couple of tenths. It's also going to allow Nick Wask to close in, so immediately I'm going to go defensive here. I'm not going to give Wask any opportunity to try and sling it up the inside. It's the parabolic. Instead, he turns it on me. There's contact. That sends Wask out wide. Well, thankfully, that contact didn't cause me to lose the rear, but a really strange one that. It wasn't like Wask didn't know I was there. He was behind me all the way down that back straight, but for now, I've got a little bit of breathing room behind. And it looks like Thomas Martin is up to 5th place, so Martin must have tucked it up the inside of Wask while he was out wide through the Parabolica. Into turn 1 then, the start of lap 2. Oh, I've been hit from behind, I'm not sure who by, but it spun me around and now I'm a sitting duck. I am getting absolutely battered. Oh, if I thought the first lap was brutal, the violence has been dialed up a notch at the start of lap 2. Somehow I'm back on track, but I have got to be carrying some pretty serious damage now. I took multiple whacks, but astonishingly it looks like I've only lost 2 positions. Nick Wask got past and Bjorn Rapido got past. The rest, I think, were all caught up in the traffic jam behind. Oh yeah, we've got real damage here now. This Lamborghini just didn't want to turn into Della Rossia. My steering wheel's crooked, I'm down on aero. This is going to be a long 22 minutes. I'm still in P6, but for how long? I've got Thomas Martin breathing down my neck, then Englert and Hazak right behind him waiting to pounce. Let's go back and check out the replays to see what happened. Big accident in the background there as we approach the Parabolica. Now I'm taking the defensive line here purely to send the blue Ferrari of Nick Wask out wide. He does go out wide, but then he tries to turn in, and yeah, that was quite hefty contact. In the background, I think I saw the Porsche of Englert running wide too, but that was a mere skirmish compared to what happened in T1 at the start of lap 2. Oh yeah, it was Thomas Martin who tagged me there. He just got a little bit too close and had nowhere to go. Meanwhile, I make a complete mess of the rejoin. I'm off track on the inside now, and I am getting battered from all angles. Right, on board with Martin now. He's actually a few tenths behind as we approach the braking point for this first chicane. Does he just get caught out? He's getting closer and closer, and yeah, he just can't get it stopped in time. Now, I probably didn't pick up too much damage there, but when I make that mistake trying to rejoin, I got hit 3 or 4 more times, and that is probably what's given me the damage. One final view from the chopper cam. Well, we can see exactly how much chaos this incident caused. I'm sideways at this point. There's nowhere for anyone else to go. Wask gets through, but everybody else is just ploughing in. There are multiple bumps in this incident. It's brutal. It is violent. It's Lambo first blood here at Monza. Well, at first glance, it may appear like I got off quite lightly from that incident because I only lost 2 positions. However, the real damage is the condition of the car. I am struggling big time here. But despite all that, I have actually gained another position. That's because Pierre Courcelle, the race leader, has suffered a disconnect. So I'm up into P5 and I'm going to do everything I can to try and hold on to it, including going ultra defensive into the Parabolica. That's because Dominic Englert in the Porsche behind is closing right in now. Right, let's jump forward half a lap. I'm actually starting to reel in Rapido. He's now just 0.4 of a second ahead, but look in the rearview mirror. Englert is equally close. I am now in a 3-way battle for P4. Now, I'm trying my hardest to compete with these 2 guys while trying to learn the new limits of the car with all this damage. I have dialed up the traction control a notch, but it's not helping, particularly through right-hand turns. I am really struggling. Look how quicker Englert is in the rearview mirror. He is carrying much more speed out of Lesmo 2. I am going to take the defensive line, but I'm not sure what good it's going to do. Englert is already alongside. His route through may be blocked off by Rapido ahead, but no, I end up just backing out of that one. I've not got the confidence in the car's handling since picking up that damage. I thought it was safest just to lift. Lap 5 then, I'm still in P6. I'm trying everything I possibly can to keep up with Englert and Rapido ahead, but it is proving difficult. Now, Englert was driving really aggressively behind me. He was in a proper hurry to try and get past, and if he's in just as much of a rush to try and force his way past Rapido, it may start to get messy in front, so it's important I keep as close as I possibly can just to pick up any pieces. And as I say that, Rapido has lost it. He's taken Englert with him. I take avoided action out to the runoff area to get past safely and back up into P4. Incredible stuff. Well, I knew I was carrying too much damage to fight with these guys head-to-head, but I also knew if I stayed as close as I possibly could, there was every chance something like this would happen. Rapido loses it right in front of Englert's Porsche. Englert's got nowhere to go. He tries to sneak through on the inside. There's a little bit of contact, and the Porsche spins out too. Now, this incident has put me in a really strong position. I'm up into P4, but we're going to rejoin the live action with 6 minutes of the race left. Now, I've got to be honest, the odds of me finishing in 4th position look pretty slim, and that's because I've got Fabrizio Rodriguez closing in fast in my rearview mirror. Now, Rodriguez is racing the #1 plate. He's the highest rated driver on this track. Meanwhile, I'm still struggling with handling. That exit from Ascari being a prime example. I was all over the curbs. It was a terrible exit. It's allowed Rodriguez to pull alongside. I'm taking a defensive line, but it's not going to do me any good. He's got too much speed, and he coasts around the outside to take 4th position. That puts me down to 5th, but I've got a healthy cushion back to Radenkovic in 6th. 7.6 seconds is the gap. So as long as I can stay pointing in the right direction here, I think I'm nailed on for a top 5 finish. I'm actually getting a bit of a toe from Rodriguez here, but just as I consider making a move down the inside, there's a black marker coming out of pit lane, so I decide against it. Right, jumping forward to lap 12. There's now just 3 minutes left on the clock, and I am sitting pretty in 5th position. Look at that gap back to Radenkovic. He is now 8.3 seconds back. I'm under no pressure at all, so why on earth am I pushing a bit too hard into Della Roggia? I know the car is damaged, I know its cornering is affected, so why on earth I threw it into the corner that aggressively, I'll never know. This was a catastrophic mistake. I can't even rejoin safely. There's no way I'm going to reverse onto a live racetrack, so I ended up having to do an agonisingly slow 3-point turn, and as a result I've dropped down to 8th position. And yeah, I can't say I wasn't warned about this. I've spent the previous 15 minutes readjusting my driving style to cope with this lack of handling, but just one momentary lapse in concentration has cost me 3 positions and a top 5 finish. Well, can I salvage anything over this final couple of minutes? Well, I may get a sniff of at least 1 position, because Vladimir Radenkovic has made a right mess of turn 1. He was out on the gravel to the right, he's rejoined, but he's only 0.5 of a second ahead. He's also down on pace, so I'm going to have the momentum here to possibly challenge on the inside into Della Roggia. We're alongside now. Can I make this pass stick? It doesn't look like Radenkovic is too keen on going through here too wide, so he backs out, and yes, I am up into 7th position. And yeah, I was only just talking about my own lapse in concentration. Well, this is a similar lapse for Radenkovic coming into turn 1. He just gets a bit offline, whacks the curb on the inside, and that unsettles him. He's out into the gravel. He's already lost 2 positions here from 5th to 7th. And he's going to lose another one at the end of the straight. I was carrying so much more speed. I had to make a move up the inside into this chicane. Thankfully, I got to the apex, clearly ahead, and made the clean pass. Last lap then, and I am agonisingly close to the top 5. I can see it, I can almost touch it, but I'm just not close enough to challenge over this final half a lap. Renault Tretaine currently in 5th. He's 1.3 seconds ahead. In between us is Steve Davies. Now, I should be in front of these 2 and well clear, and the fact that I'm not, well, there's only one person to blame, and that is myself. Yes, I'm carrying damage, but I knew I was carrying damage. I knew where I could push, where I couldn't push, and I just forgot. One simple and momentary lapse in concentration. I just threw it too hard into that chicane, and I've paid a big, big price. I had a nailed on top 5, but I'm probably going to finish in P7 unless there is a disaster into the final corner. At the moment, though, it is me looking the most ragged out of the 3 of us. And that is because I'm pushing as hard as I possibly can just to try and get within striking distance in case one of these 2 drivers makes a mistake into the parabolica. It's looking unlikely. I brake as late as I possibly can. I'm as close as I've been to Davies. Oh! Almost a catastrophic disaster. If I can't make the finish line now, I will be gutted. I've picked up even more damage. Thankfully, the car's still going though, and I do cross the line in 7th position. But yeah, I pushed it a bit too hard there. That was a big risk I probably shouldn't have taken. My cornering ability has been limited ever since lap 2, but I just pushed the car a bit too hard here. Oh, that was a big hit into the barrier. Serious damage picked up, but I'm lucky to even be able to limp across the line here. But before this one got underway, I did say that for my first race back, anything inside the top 10 would be decent, and I've got that at least, a P7. Yes, it should have been better. I should have been in 5th position. Even with damage, I clocked faster lap times than Davies and Tretaine ahead of me. But given my lack of track time in ACC over the past month, I can't be too downhearted with a solid top 10 finish. And it's also interesting to see that I was the only Lamborghini on the grid. Is the car really that unpopular and that uncompetitive? Because to me, it felt pretty decent. I enjoyed driving it, and I'll certainly be sticking with it for the future rounds in this season. Thank you ever so much for watching. Cheers for now.